Yeah, hello everyone. Is my voice audible, guys? So in today's session, we are going to start with backend development with Node.js. In this backend development with Node.js, our target is to learn how to create or how to develop REST APIs. So here, our target is to learn how to develop REST APIs. So the sessions, what I'm going to conduct here, it will be more practical oriented and less theoretical oriented. Okay, it will be more practical and less theoretical. So here, most of the time we are going to spend on practical way instead of learning everything in a theoretical way. So to develop this REST APIs with Node.js, here we are going to take the help of Express.js package. And we are going to take the help of MongoDB database. So I will be teaching you certain extent of MongoDB concepts as well, which are required so that easily we can develop REST APIs. And we are going to learn about Mongoose package. So this Mongoose package will help us to connect our Express application or Node application with MongoDB database. So if you want to connect your Node Express application with MongoDB database, then we are going to take the help of this Mongoose package. So here I am expecting only JavaScript knowledge from you guys. So if you know JavaScript, then you will understand each and every concept of this particular session. If you are not aware of JavaScript, then it will be a little difficult for you guys. Okay, so all the sessions are free. So these sessions will go for next 2 to 3 weeks. So let's see how it goes. So I am expecting it should go for next 2 to 3 weeks. So 2 to 3 weeks, we are going to learn our entire backend part with Node.js, and we are going to learn how to create REST APIs. So after attending this session, you will be capable of developing the REST APIs. You can develop REST APIs for any type of applications. So that much capable you will be. But for that, you have to be consistent with the sessions and you have to be, you have to practice. So you have to be consistent, plus you have to keep practicing the sessions, whatever I will teach. Then 100% you will be capable of developing REST APIs with Node.js. So first of all, what is this Node.js? So we have to understand what is this Node.js. We have to understand what is the meaning of backend development. And we need to see how JavaScript is used. JavaScript is used in backend development. We need to understand what is the difference between front-end development and back-end development. What is the basic difference? What is the basic difference between front-end development and back-end development? When I say that I am creating a front-end application, when I say I am creating a back-end application, but actually what is the meaning of that? Why JavaScript is used? Why JavaScript is used to develop why JavaScript is used to develop front-end and even back-end application. And why can't we use languages like Java or Python or C# to develop a front-end application? If you want to develop a front-end application, you cannot do with Java, Python, or C#. You can develop only backend application with Java, Python, and C#. But JavaScript is the language using which we can develop front end also, back end also. So at least this much theoretical part we should be aware of. Means that base will be created, that core part will be created. Once that root is created for us, then we can learn all the Node.js concepts on the top of it. So first of all, what is Node.js? What is Node.js? So basically, Node.js is a JavaScript runtime environment. What is Node.js means, guys? Node.js is JavaScript runtime environment, or I can say that it is a software. It is a software where JavaScript code is executed. So what is Node.js? It is basically a software. It is basically a software where JavaScript code is executed. So JavaScript code you can execute in different environments. One of the environment is Node.js and another environment is browser. Even inside the browser, we can execute the JavaScript code. Now, why Node.js is called JavaScript runtime environment? Because we can execute the JavaScript code. Not only executing the JavaScript code, this Node.js provides lot of predefined functions, objects, and classes to us to do different operations. So this Node.js, it provides predefined functions, objects, and classes to perform different actions. Like what kind of actions we can perform? We can create a file. We can remove the file, or you can remove the folder. You can manage operating system. You can manage servers like database servers. You can interact with networks. All these things we can do. So this Node.js will provide us some predefined functions, object, and classes. Now we can use those functions, object, and classes, and we can perform different actions. Like we can create a file, we can remove the file, we can create folders, we can remove the folders, we can add new file in the existing folders, we can remove the files from the existing folders, we can read the content from the file, we can manage our operating system. What is the meaning of managing operating system? We can check in current system what is the operating system used, Windows or Mac or Linux. What is the total storage present in the system? We can manage that storage as well. We can check how much bit your operating system is using. Like this, we can do so many things. Not only that, we can even manage the database servers. Now in your system, you can install some database server like Oracle server or MongoDB server or maybe MySQL server. Now you can manage those servers with your Node.js. You can interact with networks. Interacting with networks means you can send response, you can send request, you can do all those things. Whatever things are required for networks. So all these things are possible with Node.js. How it is possible? So for that, as a developer, we need not to write everything from the scratch. So we are abstracted from so many things, and Node.js is providing us lot of inbuilt functionality. So we can use all those inbuilt functionality to do all these different types of actions. That's why we call Node.js as a JavaScript runtime environment. Now, why we call it as a JavaScript runtime environment? Because using this Node.js, we can execute JavaScript code. That is one part. Second, this Node.js will provide us lot of inbuilt functionalities using which we can do different actions. That is one more benefit we have with the Node.js. And using this Node.js, we can develop REST APIs. We can develop a backend part of web application also. It will help us to develop backend part of our web application. That is the reason we are going to call this Node.js as a JavaScript runtime environment. So here our main target to learn Node.js is to develop backend part of web application. So we wanted to develop a backend part of web application. I hope everybody is aware of this particular thing, that a web application is divided into three sub application. The first sub application is front end, second sub application is back end, and third sub application is your database. So if you want to develop a web application, then you have to develop three sub applications. You have to develop front end application, you have to develop back end application, you have to develop even database. Now, once you develop these three sub applications, then you have to connect them. You have to connect front end with the back end. You have to connect back end with the database. Once you connect front end with back end with database, then this entire structure we are going to call as a web application. This is what we call as a client server architecture as well. So this entire thing will be called as a web application. So whether you are using Java stack, Python stack, .NET stack, or MERN stack, or Mean stack, or Maven stack, or Perl stack, whatever stacks you are using, at the end, you have to develop these three sub applications. You have to develop front end, you have to develop back end, we have to develop database. Right now, we know that using JavaScript, we can develop front end part. Using JavaScript, we can develop this front end part. Front end part we can develop. But using this Node.js, it became possible for us to develop a backend application using JavaScript. Not only backend application, even you can manage database. Even you can manage database with JavaScript. So this Node.js made possible to develop backend part of web application using JavaScript. So what is this backend application development? What is the meaning of this backend part? So if you observed or if you analyzed, whenever you are developing a front-end application, everything happens inside the browser only. Whatever action you do in the front-end application, everything happens inside the browser only. For example, if I open here any website, like let's assume that I am opening here facebook.com. Now this is my Facebook application. Now this is the front end part of Facebook application. Suppose if I enter my credentials and if I click on login button, I will get that home page. But that home page will also open in the browser only. It will not open outside the browser. It will open inside the browser only. Now from that home page, you can navigate to any other pages. You can navigate to setting page. You can navigate to your profile page. You can navigate to your friend list page. You can navigate to your post page. Like this, you can navigate to different part of Facebook application. But all the parts of that application will open inside the browser only. It will not open outside the browser. So what is this front-end development? Front-end development is nothing but doing all the actions on browser. Or we can say that front-end development is a process of accessing all the browser components. All the browser components. In your browser, whatever you will find, if you are able to access these components and if you are able to manipulate it, now that is what front-end application. So in front-end application, everything you will do in browser only. You will play with browser only. You will access browser components only. Apart from that, you will not do anything. That is your front-end development. Now, what is back-end development? Back-end development is nothing but accessing the system components and doing some kind of actions. Back-end application development is nothing but accessing system components. System components means now in your system, you have an operating system. Operating system is considered as one of the component. You have file system. It is considered as one of the component. You have network. This is also one of the component. Now in your system, you might install some servers. You might install some web servers. You might install some database servers. So you install some servers. Now, if you are able to control, if you are able to control or if you are able to manage this system components, then that is what we are going to call as a backend development. So backend development is all about controlling your system components as per your requirement. Front-end development is nothing but controlling browser component. All your browser components in browser, whatever components you will find, controlling that is called your front-end development, and controlling your system components is nothing but back-end development. So initially when JavaScript was created, it was all about managing browser. Apart from that, you cannot do anything with JavaScript. So initially it was not possible with JavaScript to manage file system. Managing file system means using JavaScript, we cannot create files. We cannot remove the files. We cannot read the files. We cannot create folders. So all those things are not possible. With JavaScript, you cannot manage the servers which are installed in your system. You cannot start the server. You cannot stop the server. You cannot manage the server. All those things were not possible with JavaScript. Initially, when Node.js was not introduced, the moment Node.js was introduced, all these things became possible with JavaScript. This is the reason JavaScript became so popular that you can develop entire web application with JavaScript. That is where Mern stack, Mean stack, Maven stack came into picture. So in short, front-end development is all about managing browser. Back-end development is managing all the system components. So if you are able to manage system components, that is what we call as a back-end development. If you can manage browser components, that is what we can call as a front-end development. So now both are possible with JavaScript. How it is possible? Because of Node.js. Because of Node.js. And how you can control? For that, you need not to write everything from the scratch. You will get lot of predefined functionalities. You just need to understand those functionalities and you have to use it. So what is Node.js? It is a JavaScript runtime environment. It is a place where JavaScript code will execute and it provides lot of inbuilt functionality to us. Using that Node.js, we can develop backend part of web application. What is the meaning of backend part, developing backend part, or what is backend development? Backend development is nothing but it is a process of accessing all your system components and doing certain actions like creating the files or accessing database servers, managing those database servers, like creating the database, adding the data in that server, or removing the data from existing server. Like this, you can do so many things with JavaScript. That is what we call as a backend development. Now, JavaScript is a language which will help us to develop even backend application with Node.js. What is the difference between front-end development and back-end development? In front-end development, we work with browser components. In back-end development, we work with system components. Browser components, system components. Now, why JS is used to develop front-end and back-end? Because using JS, you can manage browser components also. You can manage system components also. But why can't we use Java? With Java, you cannot manage browser components. You can manage only system components with Java. With Python, you can manage only system components. You cannot manage browser components. Using PHP, you cannot manage browser components. You can manage only system components. This is the reason Java is all about developing backend application. You will never use Java to develop front-end application. You will always use Java to develop backend application. Why? Because in Java, you can access all these things. In Python also, you can do same thing. But you cannot manage browser with your Java or Python or C Sharp. That is the reason we cannot develop a front-end application with Java, Python or C Sharp. But with JavaScript, we can do all the things. So in short, Node.js is a JavaScript runtime environment which will help us to execute JavaScript code and access all the system components so that we can develop the backend application of our web application. Now we need to learn how to use this Node.js to access all the system components. How to use Node.js to access system components. So for this, Node.js is providing us lot of JavaScript files. This Node.js is providing us lot of JavaScript files. File 1, file 2, file 3, file 4, file 5. So many files it is providing. In every file, you will find some predefined object, some predefined function, some predefined classes. Few files will contain only object and functions. Few file will contain only classes. Few files will contain object, functions, and even classes. So like this, you will find lot of JavaScript files. All these are JavaScript files. Node.js is providing us lot of JavaScript files. And in that JavaScript files, you have so many object functions and classes. Now, all these JavaScript files in Node.js term, we are going to call as a modules. We are going to call this as a module. We are going to call it as a module. As these JavaScript files, or we can use the term module. So one JavaScript file is one module. So this is one module, this is one module, this is one module, this is one module. So one JavaScript file is one module. So Node.js provides lot of inbuilt modules to us. And we call those inbuilt modules as a core module. Core module means all these modules are provided by Node.js itself. The people who created Node.js, those people only created these modules. So like this, Node.js is providing lot of modules to us. Now in these modules, how many objects are there? How many functions are there? How many classes are there? How to use those classes? How to use those functions? What is the use of those functions? What is the use of those classes? All those documentation has been created. So this developer, every information about this module, they have documented. They have documented. And that is what we are going to call as a documentation. For example, in this file, how many objects are there? How many functions are there? What are those functions name? What is that object name? How to access those functions? How many arguments that function will take? What that function will do? What it returns? Like this, all the information is documented. So we have to go through those documentation. We have to learn about those functions and classes, and we have to use it as per our requirement. As per our requirement, we have to go through those functions. We have to go through those classes. We have to go through those objects, and we have to use it. Now, where you will find that documentation, you will find on the official website. For example, so if I go to the browser, and here, if you want to visit official website of Node.js, you have to just say nodejs.org. So when you go for visit nodejs.org, here they are saying run JavaScript everywhere. They have that slogan. So what is Node.js? Node.js is free, open source, cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment that lets developer create servers, web application, command line tools, and scripts. You can create web servers, you can create web apps. Web apps means they are targeting here backend apps. You can create backend apps. You can create command line tools and scripts. You can write small programs to automate certain process. That is what we call as a tools and scripts. Now, if you visit nodejs.org website, this is the home page which you will land on. Now here you have some links: learn, about, download, blog, docs. Visit this docs. The moment you click on docs, on the left side, you will find so many links here. All these are the modules. This many inbuilt modules we have in the Node.js. So here, if you see, we have report module, we have readline module, here we have path module, we have OS module, we have process module, permission module, like this. Here we have file system module, we have HTTP module, events module. This is the file system module. Module is nothing but one JavaScript file. So if I open this file system, now here see, so many functions are present. So many objects are present. This means functions and objects are present only in the file system. Now all the documentation is there. Like suppose if I want to know what is the use of this, if I just click on this, it will land me on the documentation. So what is the use of this dir dot close the sync? It is synchronously close the directory underlying resources handle. So what it will do, it will simply close your directory if it is opened. So how to use, just we have to say dir dot closed sync. Like this, what is dir dot path? In that, what we can do, every information is present here. So like this, you have OS module also. If I scroll down and click on OS, now here you will find all the functions which are related to OS module. So here we have os.free_mem. So this is just to find out in your system how much free memory is left. Now you have hard disk. Now in your hard disk, maybe certain amount is free. Now you want to find out programmatically how much memory is free. Then we can use this function. It will calculate the free memory in your system and it will return the value. This is used to find your operating system, which operating system is running in your system. So like this, we have different functions here, which are related to operating system. You can check operating system version. How much total memory is there? That also you can check. So like this, here different functions are there. So in every module, you will find all these things. You have something called HTTP module. Using this, we can create web servers. We can manage request and response using this HTTP server. So like this, so many core modules are present. That's why we call it as an environment. So we need to understand these core modules, and as per our requirement, we have to use that core modules. So different application, different projects will have different requirement of modules. So all the modules you will not use in your application development. Whichever it is required, you will use only those. And whenever you are using certain module, you have to go through the documentation. You have to spend some time on the documentation. You have to understand about that module. And then as per your requirement, you have to use those modules. That is what a developer or software engineer does. So he won't remember function names or object names. He just remember the concept. Suppose he wants to work on file system. Now he don't remember what functions are present in file system. So if I want to use file system, what I will do, I will go to the documentation. I will go to the file system. I will open this documentation. I spend some time. Now that time can be one entire day. It can be 2 days. It can be 1 week also. Depending upon that package, depending upon my capabilities, I can take the time to explore this package. Once I explore this package, then as per requirement, I will use this package. I will understand which function I have to use to do my actions. That is what software developer does in real time. Because you are going to deal with hundreds of packages in your career. Now you cannot remember each and every package functions. That is the reason as a developer, we should be aware of how to read the documentations, how to use the documentations. Okay. So what is Node.js? Node.js is JavaScript runtime environment. This is the place where we are going to execute our JavaScript code. And using this Node.js, we can access all these predefined functions. All these files we can access. So what I can do, I can create one JavaScript file. This is my JavaScript file. Now Node.js created one JavaScript file, which we call as a module. So let's assume that this is module 1. In this module 1, there is one function. Let's assume that there is one function called f1. Now this f1 function I want to use in my file, because in this function some logic they have written. So instead of writing same logic one more time here, what I will do, I will use the existing function. So what I can do, this function I can access in my file and I can use it. I will get certain action. Like this, I can have one more module. There might be one more module. In this module also, there might be some 2-3 objects. So let's assume that object 1 is there, object 2 is there, object 3 is there. Now these objects I want to use in my file. So what I will do, all these files, all these objects, I will access in my file and I will use it. And like this, by utilizing the functionality of inbuilt things which are given by Node.js, I can develop some features. So we should know how to access the objects or functions of modules which are developed by Node.js in our file. Now our file is also considered as a module only. This is also considered as a module only. So this will be considered as custom module. The files which are created by Node.js, those are called core modules. Those are core modules. So core modules, and this is the custom module. So Node.js is all about dealing with modules only. Node.js is all about dealing with modules. Dealing with modules. Dealing with modules, nothing but dealing with functions, objects, and classes. Functions, objects, and classes. Now these modules are divided into 3 types. The first one is called core module. We call it as a core module. Core modules means the module which are developed by Node.js itself. Those we call as a core module. Second type of module is nothing but we call it as a custom module. Custom module means we are creating our own JavaScript file. We are utilizing the core modules and we are developing some other functions. We are developing objects. Those will be considered as a custom module. And there is one more, we call it as a third-party module. Third-party module. These are also inbuilt modules only, but developed by some other developers who are not part of official Node.js. They might be part of some other company. So core modules means those are developed by official Node.js developers. Third-party modules means these are developed by some other modules who are not part of Node.js company. They might be part of some other company or they might be a freelancers like that. So core modules or third-party modules, both will contain inbuilt functions only. Custom modules means we are creating our own. So these are the three types of modules. This is given by Node.js. This will be created by us. This will be created by some other developers across the world. So we should know how to use all these modules. And using these modules, we are going to learn how to develop REST APIs. We are going to learn how to develop REST APIs. Understood, guys? What is Node.js? Are you guys getting the idea? So let me show you one small demo so that you will get more clarity on that. Okay. Now let me open my VS Code. I'm just showing you demo. What code I am writing, you don't worry about that. You just see the demo here. I am creating one JavaScript file. Or let me create first one folder and let me open that folder. Node.js, I will say, I will open this folder directly. Now this is the empty folder. This is the empty folder. In this folder, I don't have any file. So now manually I am creating one file. How I am creating the file? I am clicking on this icon. It is asking me to give some name. So I am just giving here some name called demo.js and pressing on enter button. So the moment I press on that enter key, one file is created. This is called creating the file using graphical user interface. We have used all this graphical user interface and we are creating the file. Now what I want to write here some JavaScript code. I want to write here some JavaScript code. Now, once I execute this JavaScript code, if I execute this JavaScript code, then I want a file should be created. I want one file should be created. Which file should be created? Let's assume that HTML file should be created. Here, HTML file should be created. What I will do, here I will write some JavaScript code and that code I will execute. Whenever I execute that code, you will see that one HTML file will be created here. And how it is possible? That is possible with Node.js. So what this Node.js is doing, this Node.js people created one JavaScript file. And to this file, they are giving the name as a FS module. In this file, they created some functions. They created some objects. They created some classes. Now, what I am doing, I am creating my own JavaScript file. So this is the file I have created, demo.js. Now in this file, I will utilize this functions, objects, and classes. Some of the functions, objects, and classes I will utilize in my file, and I will write some code. These functions and objects I will use here. And whenever I execute this code, whatever I have written, whenever I execute this code, you will see that one HTML file will be created. You will see that one HTML file will be created. See here, just see the output. So I'm writing here some code. So don't worry what I am writing. You just see the output. So here I am saying home.html file I want to create. In that right now, I don't want to add any content. And here I am passing one callback function. So some code I am writing here. Okay. You don't worry about it. What I am writing here. And here simply I will add console.log and I will say that file created. Now see, I written some code. Now we don't have any file here. We have just demo.js file. Now I will execute this code. So I will open my terminal and here I will execute the command. The moment I executed my file, the code, I got here one message file created, and you will see that one file is created here. I can create one more file. I will change here service.html. Right now in this home.html, there is no content. But when I am creating service.html, I want to add here some content. I want to add h2 tag. Hello. Now see here. So I have written some code in JavaScript with the help of Node.js predefined functions. And now I am running it. You will see that service.html file is created and here some code is added. I can create any type of files. I want CSS file. I can create CSS also. I will say service.css. I will remove this content now. Now see here, we don't have any CSS file. The moment I run, CSS file created. See, service.css is created. Suppose I want to create Java file. I can create Java file also. I will say here something like example.java. Now if I run, Java file is created. See, example.java, Java file is created. I can create JavaScript file also. I will say example.js. See, JavaScript file is created, example.js. So what I am doing here, I am writing some JavaScript code, and with that code, I am able to create file. So this is what we call using JavaScript accessing the system component called file system. Not only creating file, I can do so many things on the file system. I can create folders, I can remove file, I can add new content in the file. I can read the content from the file. If there is some content in the file, I can access that content and I can print in the terminal. If any database server is running in my system, I can connect with that database server. I can create databases, means I can write here code, and if I execute that code, it will connect with my database server. It will create one database. If I want, I can write the code to connect with database, to create with to connect with the database server, create the database, add the data in the database. Like this, I can do any kind of operations that I want. So what I have done here, I am using the FS system and utilizing its function and doing some action. So we need to learn how we can utilize all this. So We are using Node.js. Node.js is providing us one module. We are using that module functions in our file, and we are doing some action. That action was creating the file. Not only files, we can do so many things as per our requirement. Okay. Yeah. So this is how we are going to learn Node.js, guys. And with this Node.js, we are going to learn about Express.js and MongoDB as well. And finally, at the end of this batch, we should be capable of developing the REST APIs. That is our main target. And once you attend all these sessions, you can create REST APIs for any type of applications in the world. You can create REST APIs for chat application, food ordering applications. You can create for e-commerce applications. You can create for project management applications. You can create APIs for portfolio. You can create APIs for banking application. You can create APIs for any type of applications. Once you understand the technique, you can create any types of REST APIs. Okay. Yeah. So today I will end the session here, guys. So this recording I will provide you. I hope everybody joined WhatsApp community channel. So in that WhatsApp community channel, I will provide you the recording link on daily basis. Whatever code I will write, that code I will provide you, and whatever notes I will create, that notes I will provide you. Okay. So in case if you did not join this WhatsApp community, no worries. Tomorrow I will provide you the link so that you guys can join, and whatever updates I need to provide, I can provide through that community link. Yeah, so let's join tomorrow at same time with same link. So same link we will continue for next 2 to 3 weeks.